Hello everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave with your Monday to Friday update for Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin's moving really strongly lower. The fear and greed index is at 74. It's in almost extreme fear territory, so from a contrarian viewpoint, we should be expecting a low in place here or very soon. I'm stepping back and looking at the weekly time frame today just to keep our eyes on the bigger picture. From this important low, the end of a year-long bear market in November 2022, there is a series of higher highs up to the all-time high, 73,802.64 in March 2024. And there's a series of higher lows. There's your basic definition of an upward trend. This is the last higher low within that pattern of higher highs and higher lows, 38,512.34. This is the last highest low prior to the highest high. In order for the pattern of higher highs and higher lows to be broken, we would need to see a new low below 38,512.34. While that hasn't happened, we should assume the trend remains the same until proven otherwise. I've adjusted the channel I've got around this upward movement to be more conservative. I've drawn this channel from the lowest low here, November 2022, to this low down here and pushed a parallel copy up on this high. It was broken through here, back test of support, move up and away, came back into the channel, back test of resistance, moving down. If we see continued downward movement for Bitcoin, I would look for support at this trend line, so use that trend line in the first instance. It's broken below what was support at 55,000, which was pretty strong. Now next support at 51,800. Volume was pushing price higher in the last upward swing within this big consolidation, and now for the last completed week, volume pushed price lower. So there's strength on both sides. ADX reached very extreme at the all-time high, telling us that their upward trend was very extreme. The pullback consolidation has beautifully relieved extreme conditions. This is a normal, healthy part of a larger bullish market. Price does not move in a straight line. The DX lines are whipsawing, ADX is declining, there's no clear trend at this time frame. RSI reached deeply overbought and exhibited single bearish divergence, so unsurprisingly we're getting a consolidation pullback. RSI is still just above 50 today at the weekly time frame. This consolidation pullback has relieved extreme conditions, setting the market up for setting the stage for the next bullish run. Money flow reached overbought, it's below 50 now. ATR overall showing some decline as price consolidates, a little bit of an increase now. ATR does tend to have a wee increase at the end of bearish movements, not always, but that is quite common. Let's look at the technicals on the daily. Here's this huge rectangle pattern. It's got a bit of a downward slope, so I've got this pink channel from the all-time high to this high here in June 2024, pulling a parallel copy down to this low in May 2024. We've got an overshoot here, we've got a strong overshoot here. As support is breached and then price moved back within the rectangle, I extended the support area for the rectangle first back down to here and now back down to here. We don't have a close for the session of the 5th of August. Let's see how this session closes. So far it's got a bullish long lower wick, and so far it's not closing below support, which is now about 53,000 or 53,500. In order for there to be a downward breakout, I want to see a close below 53,000 and I want to, well, 53,500, and then I want to see 2 or 3 days down and away in order to have confidence there's been a downward breakout, because rectangles are plagued by multiple false breakouts in both directions. So we don't yet have the close for the session. Let's see how it closes. So far it's looking a bit bullish. If it does close below support, I want to see 2 red candlesticks following it before I have confidence that there's a big bearish movement. It's probably going to have what happened here and here. It closed below support and quickly price returned back within the rectangle. Closed below support here on the 7th of July, quickly price returned back to within the rectangle. Fell just a little bit short of resistance. I was expecting a pullback, I just wasn't expecting it to be this deep. There's a very strong volume spike with today's downward movement, an increase in range, an increase in volume. That is really typical at the end of Bitcoin's bearish movements, but if it is in a bear market, that's also typical for a short-term low, and then you'll see a little consolidational bounce, and then you'll see bearish movement continue. I can't tell you which of those two scenarios is playing out. All I can tell you is this does suggest for the very short term we may have a low in place at today's low. ADX is increasing, now telling us there's a downward trend for the short term. RSI is not oversold. If we see a pivot develop here, we're going to then have double bullish divergence for this data from Crypto Compare. If that happens, I would have more confidence that we finally have a low. It could develop further into triple divergence and we could see another low, but each time we get multiple divergence with each subsequent divergence, the probability that the low is in place does get higher. Money flow is neutral, and if we do develop a pivot here, so if we see the 6th of August develop a green candlestick, we'll then have a pivot. If we have a pivot on RSI and money flow as well, we'd have some pretty strong bullish divergence with money flow. ATR showing an increase with downward movement today. There is strength in this downward movement. Now, I know this is the most difficult time. You have to buy when prices are low and sell when prices are high in order to make money. But when prices are moving down strongly and this market has extreme volatility, fear is the dominating emotion. And we don't buy when prices are low because we're afraid. When price is moving up and price is very high, the dominant emotion is greed, and so we don't sell when prices are high. In order to do the opposite, you have to work against your psychology. So do be aware that fear is today the dominant emotion. Price is moving strongly lower. I expect that the low is possibly in here or very soon, but let's wait to see a pivot develop. Let's see how the technicals line up before we call it. For now, there is room for price to fall further. The Elliott Wave count for XRP remains the same, still expecting a 5-step forward pattern here, an expanded flat, a 3-step back pattern here, a very bullish long lower wick. It's got a wick below the log function of the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio, which was at 0.4659. If it continues any lower, it may not move beyond the start of one, below 0.3838. If I've got intermediate wave 2 labelled correctly as a triple, if this part of my wave count is right, that should be where it ends, because 3 is the maximum number of corrective structures in a multiple. You can't continue further with a 4th structure. Technicals on the daily for XRP, it's broken below what was strong support in the 54-55 cent area. It closed below that on Sunday. It's moving lower, finding next support below at 0.46. Looks like it may not be able to close below that. It's 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time today, so there's still a ways to go, but so far developing a bullish long lower wick. So far, support at 46 cents is holding. I expect that's quite likely to hold. XRP, like Bitcoin, has a volume spike and an increase in range today. They're both developing bullish long lower wicks. The volume spike is normal. When price ends a downward movement, it's normal for it to end with strong volume, and this is the strongest volume we've seen for downward movement since 12th of April. ADX is declining. There's no clear trend for the short term. There was some bearish divergence between price and RSI at the high. I was expecting this pullback for XRP. We're getting it. RSI is now well in neutral. It's well below 50. It's not yet oversold though. Let's see if we're going to get a pivot develop here. Money flow is also neutral. ATR overall was declining, starting to show a little bit of an increase with today's strong downward movement. That's it from me with your quick update. I may not have the time to update you the next 2 days. I have to fly to London on Tuesday and I'm back into Spain on Wednesday, so pretty hectic. If I have the time in a layover or while I wait for my flight to board, then I will do so, but just be aware I may not be able to do that for you for the next couple of days. What I will be able to do is update a couple of charts and some comments on Twitter or X. So if you go over there, my handle's in the link in the description box below. Follow me on X and you'll see some charts and commentary updated there for the very short term for you. Thank you for your patience.